Thank you, Rabbi.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
If you ever get me talking about my personal passions, and I'm sorry if you have, you might know that I am a bit obsessed with the fitness platform Peloton. I see a few of our holy Schwitzers here tonight. A shout out to all of you. Earlier this week, I saw a post on Instagram that read, "One day I will stop talking about Peloton." Today is not that day. And tomorrow is not that day either. And several of you have asked me if I am going to preach about running the Boston Marathon, so I figured that on this Shabbat, Shabbat Hagadol, the great Shabbat, the Shabbat before Passover, when we are supposed to begin telling the story of the Israelites' flight from Egypt, that this would be the perfect opportunity to talk about both. On Passover, we are commanded to retell the story, and not just to tell it as if it is a narrative that happened to another people in another time, but to imagine that we are the ones who are being redeemed and brought forth out of that narrow place. There is something liberating about digging deep and finding and telling our own story of redemption, and I hope that you will do the same this year. It was from within a narrow place that I decided to pursue my bucket list item of running a marathon 3 years ago. I was recovering from major knee reconstruction and feared that I would never be able to regain the strength and the physical activity that I enjoyed so much. So I decided amidst rehab that I not only would recover my strength, but aim to do something greater than I had ever done before. Even though it was a challenge, my first marathon journey was a joy because I completed each workout, each step, each mile, and eventually the marathon with awe and gratitude for simply the privilege of being able to move. But then as I shared this past Kol Nidre, my imposter syndrome set in. I needed this time to prove to myself that I could do it again, that completing the marathon wasn't a fluke. And this time, with another opportunity to run for charity, and with the anxiety of my mother's ongoing health challenges, I felt the need to make a difference for her and for other multiple myeloma patients as well. This training cycle, I felt even stronger than before. Workouts were going well, the charity cause was deeply personal, and even though it rained all winter, we didn't have to run through much snow. I even began to set a goal of beating last year's time and not walking at all during the marathon. But as it often goes, I wouldn't get through the experience without some sort of plague and hardship. At first, it was knee inflammation, and then plantar fasciitis. This is where I turned to the Torah of Peloton. One of my favorite coaches, Bex Gentry, says, "Forward is a pace." I actually think it's a deeply spiritual message. What truly matters is that you are moving. No judgment on how far or how fast or even how it feels. It's a win simply to take a step forward. This message applies well beyond running as well. We learn the same during the Passover season. Often, we might want to rush the journey. We might want to skip a few steps, wish it were another way, change our course, but the Seder, it grounds us. Literally, Seder, it orders us. We must go through all the steps. Kadesh, Orchatz, Karpas, Yachatz. Even if one step feels superfluous, we go through it because forward is a pace, and we are meant to feel and experience every aspect of the journey. I would even argue that the steps that feel like they take us backwards are still steps forward. Because setbacks are learning, healing, and growing opportunities. And however painful, we move through them. However slow, however difficult, forward is a pace. And so I decided, even with an achy foot and doubts in my mind, that I would line up to start this year's Boston Marathon. Every mile would be a victory lap for a season of dedication and for the effort of raising $26,000 towards a cure for multiple myeloma. With the excitement of Marathon Monday and the buildup of race weekend, I was eager to see where the road would lead. I felt great for 4 miles until my foot reminded me that it wasn't at 100%. By mile 6, the heat of the day began to affect my muscles as well. And it was at that point that I decided forward is a pace. The goal would be just to finish. I'm not sure if you know, but the French term peloton is, in itself, a beautiful concept. It refers to a group of cyclists or runners sticking together to conserve energy and spare each other from the wind and the elements. It's the concept of riding or running in a pack. As the tagline of the Peloton fitness platform encourages, together we go far. Making an exodus is a communal experience. In fact, the first place the Hebrew word people, is referred to the people of Israel is the Exodus narrative, chapter 1. At the same time that the Torah establishes a people under God that will soon be set free, is the first time we see the people as a collective. No matter our individual experience or our individual pace, we make the journey together as a greater whole. Together, we are redeemed. It is the wicked child who asks on Passover, "Whatever does this ritual mean to you?" Separating oneself from the community. This is when it clicked for me, with 20 miles to go. Together and forward would be my pace. And so I stopped to hug or high five or acknowledge almost every single person in our community who I saw along the route. I even tripped over a few. One caught me right here. Forward was who I would see in the next block. Forward was the celebration of finishing because a community waited out late in the day until the last runners came through. Forward was appreciating every painful step because at least it was in the direction of reuniting me with my family at the finish line. For us as a Jewish people, the Exodus and forward are never ending. Saying Dayenu is the collective practice of being grateful for each step and for each gift along the way. But the truth is that the journey keeps going. And so we say, next year in Jerusalem, not just for you or not just for me, but for all of us. Because onwards and upwards, together, is the pace of the Jewish people. No matter how slow or wayward it seems, may we share this journey and celebrate it together. Shabbat Shalom, and I wish you all a Zisen Pesach.
Yasher Koach, Rabbi. Thank you for giving us reasons to come together as a community to cheer you on. We loved seeing you in Natick. I hope that as you celebrate Passover beginning Monday night, that you will pause when you hear these words, B'chol dor vador, chayav adam lirot et atzmo, ki'ilu hu yatsa mimitzrayim. In every generation, we must feel as if we ourselves came out of Egypt. B'chol dor vador, chayav adam lirot et atzmo כאילו הוא יצא ממצרים. בכל דור ודור חייב האדם לראות את עצמו כאילו הוא יצא ממצרים, יצא ממצרים, יצא ממצרים, יצא ממצרים. בכל דור ודור חייב האדם לראות את עצמו כאילו הוא יצא ממצרים, יצא ממצרים, יצא ממצרים, יצא ממצרים. Can you picture yourself crossing through and wandering the desert? Can you feel the wind support you as you go? Do you hear the cries of those left behind, still hoping for tomorrow? Do you fear the mountain you still have to climb? בכל דור ודור חייב האדם לראות את עצמו כאילו הוא יצא ממצרים, יצא ממצרים, יצא ממצרים, יצא ממצרים.